Welcome everyone. Hi guys. We have a special guest. We have Benzo from Bybit. Benzo is the co-founder and CEO of Bybit. Maybe a funny thing to know is Bybit was established in 2018, actually in the middle of a bear market. So how was it, Ben, actually to establish an exchange like this one with millions of users, establishing this in the middle of a bear market?
Hey guys, thank you for having me on the show. My name is Ben. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Bybit. Yeah, good question. So Bybit started off in the beer market, and actually we are very comfortable in the beer market, and this is our kind of home turf when it comes to beer market. As most of you know, Bybit started off being a derivative exchange. With that being said, especially in the beer market, it gives you more ways to survive because in the bear market, not a lot of spot traders are trading, but for derivatives, as long as you have volatility and liquidity, and people will choose you to trade. But now Bybit is already a kind of super app in the whole crypto ecosystem where we have spot, we have NFT, we have Bybit Earn, we have all these alliance of product. But it was tough, and of course, you focus on building and making sure that you deliver the product and the service that people need. So that's kind of what Bybit is really strong at. Yeah.
Yeah, that's also what we have seen in the space. Bybit is building, and it keeps building even in this very unique bear market, I would say. A lot of things are going on. Exchanges are collapsing. If you look to macroeconomics, we are living actually in a different time than, let's say, 4 or 5 years ago. Maybe it's like maybe a burning question we all have is, how is Bybit doing now with this whole FTX collapse?
I think the whole industry took a hit. Luckily enough, we are an exchange, and we don't have really a trading house like Alameda, so we don't have any counterparty that's trading in FTX. So the actual incidents didn't really affect us, but when I think is one of the biggest or the worst incidents has happened so far in crypto, and we've seen a lot of people getting hurt, even Bybit employees. Some of them lost money in FTX, and obviously the biggest thing we saw was massive panic of clients, and for the past 10 days we've seen majority net outflow from exchange, users withdrawing their fund. So at this time, I think we make sure that Bybit process all the withdrawals even faster than the regular time, because we understand clients are panicking, and the best way to calm them down is to actually process withdrawals as fast as you can. So I think Bybit was one of the exchange that processed fastest, and we make sure all hands are on deck. Answer clients any questions. We have customer support all online, and obviously we have partners, friends, market makers got hurt. It's been very tough past, I think, 2 weeks. Very tough. Yeah.
Yeah, it's also a really tough time. It's a tough time for exchanges. It's also a tough time for retail traders. You know what I say, like trust, it comes really slowly, but once there's like one trigger, the trust just disappears, and there's no trust anymore. So do you think that the trust somehow will come back to this space?
It will have to come from both ways. I think first of all, exchanges or any centralized service provider, whether exchange or lending and borrowing, I think we've heard the news of BlockFi and Genesis. So all the centralized service providers will need to show and step up our game to have a better kind of infrastructure to show proof fund. And I think this is even without regulator coming in. And we all know regulator is going to be more stronger after this incident. But I think from a self-discipline, self-regulatory perspective, all the centralized players would have to step up. And and this is pretty much required moving forward. So clients will trust you. And second, of course, I think what is the role of centralized agents or exchange like us is
Yeah.
to give user the ease of usability, the user interface, as well as when they have problems, they can get the custom support. Because at this current stage, I still think Web3 and all these really in the core crypto things are a bit difficult for any ordinary users to use. So I think in the near future, still centralized exchanges or players will play a very significant role in terms of mass adopting and helping regular users to be adopted to Web3. Yeah.
Yeah, I can only imagine that. There needs to be done a lot, right, to get back the trust, and trust comes from both ways. So, like, we're gonna talk a little bit about port, like proof of reserve. But what has Bybit done to gain that trust? So one of the things I know, or you told me just now, is Bybit has speed up the withdrawals. At least it's now like withdrawing money or your funds is happens now quicker than normally. What else can does Bybit do to rebuild that trust?
Yeah.
By the way,
So
Ben, I see you have a lot of fans. I see in the comments, good things about they love Bybit, and they you have a good following base. I see a lot of good things here in the chat, by the way. So yeah, what has Bybit done, and what will it do to build up the trust?
yeah. So number one is the real business model that we are a custody service and we're not a bank. So even from day one, touching users fund was out of question, and we've always had a very clean cold wallet, wallet kind of warm wallet structure.
Hmm.
And of course, in a time of everyone's panicking, the first thing we did was to speed up a withdrawal, like I said, and make sure that any user, because sometimes you get a new IP address, you add a new EA, not EA, a new Google authenticator, or
Hmm.
add a new address, and the system will automatically flag you and thinks that you might be hacked. So you're being kind of suspended for a few hours or so, and clients get really panic. And so we have all the customer support online to help them with that. But so far, what we have done is number one is, of course, everyone's asking for proof of reserves, and so far,
Yep.
I think majority of exchanges, including Bybit, is to demonstrate and show people what are our wallet address. So we released that since I think last week, and thanks to the Nansen's team, we've been working with the team. It took us a few days because. A lot of our cold wallets were actually not recognized by Nansen. They couldn't track the address, so we had to back and forth to work with them. But now people can see our wallet. But I want to say that doesn't mean that is our proof of reserve, or clients shouldn't only rely on that information to trust exchange as proof of reserve, because any exchange can simply find a bunch of wallet and tell users these are our clients funds or whatever. So the real proof of reserve everyone's talking about now is the Merkle tree. So the Merkle tree is simply a snapshot of all the user UID a certain day like today, 21st of November, and plus each user's balance at the time. And then you pack that into what they call a Merkle tree, or a hashed kind of thing. It's like you cannot see it from outside perspective, as encrypted. And then you hand the information to an auditor, and this auditor would then check your wallet, check your company treasury, and see, first of all, are these different, and then your liability as well. And then they will compare the user's fund with the Merkle tree. If the sum matches, they will prove it. Whenever a user wants to check whether their balance or not is in the Merkle tree, they simply can generate a encrypted code from their UID, and then go to the auditor to check whether they're part of the tree or not. And so that is the solution. However, the problem now is that because of this whole incident, um, all the exchanges are going to look for auditors. And to be very frank, we talked to all the major ones globally, like PwC and all these guys. None of them wants to touch crypto after this whole FTX incident. None of them wants to vouch for crypto entities, let alone exchange. There was
Mhm.
one that Kraken uses. I think it's called Amino, and they actually stopped onboarding new exchanges as of last week. And so that's what they told us. So this solution is proven to be quite difficult, and also it could be abused because information you provide to the auditor could also be faked, and maybe the auditor people cannot trust. So Bybit is looking for a real kind of blockchain way to solve blockchain problem. Uh, we are working with a few teams to see if we could actually demonstrate clients balance online on chain, and to have a way to do that. But that, if you guys want to know more about that, I can discuss a little more about that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to. Let me quickly maybe explain like proof of reserves. I think Shulin can do this way better than I do, but for the listeners here, proof of reserves or POR is an independent audit conducted by a third party. So a company outside of the exchange, which seeks to ensure that that what they have in the wallet is really what they hold, like the assets they hold, they claim they hold on behalf of their clients, it's really true. And for this you need to have like a reliable third party. Like I used to work for Ernst and Young, and we often say like garbage in, garbage out. So if you like enter like fake data or corrupted data in your system, then the outcome will be not good. So if it is really difficult to get like a big third party doing the audit, like Ernst and Young, PwC, KPMG, or Deloitte, um, so what can exchanges actually do to have a like an authority that can really conduct reliable audit? Is it maybe creating, let's say, a new audit company that only focuses on crypto, for example, or um, or maybe like the government is doing the audit? Do you maybe have some ideas about that?
Yeah. So like if you talk to your old colleagues at Ernest Young, I'm pretty sure they'll tell you now they cannot onboard any crypto companies, and
They
that's the
won't
problem.
burn their
I think.
fingers. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's majority of us are facing right now. So actually, there are a few ways, right? Number one is Bybit is already working with all the well-known custodian service. We've already connected to Fireblock, meaning that you can actually now use Fireblocks, and you don't have to deposit into Bybit. There is a custodian wallet. So the user holds it's an MPC wallet. The user holds one key, Bybit holds one key, and Fireblocks hold one key. So when you trade, you can transfer into that wallet, and Bybit will credit you. Only when the PNL happens, we will consolidate on a very fast manner, I think. So that service is also provided by a Copper, Clear Loop. So we are connecting to these guys, and so any kind of big clients or VIP clients choose to use that, they don't have to worry about the custodian problem because it's been custodian at a third party venue. But this is not a solution for a regular retail, right? Like you and me, I don't have a Copper account, I don't have a Fireblocks account, and it costs money to open an account there. So I've been talking to the team to see if we could find a way, trustless way. So you don't have to trust. You can simply, blockchain solves the problem. So we're trying to see if we could find a way to actually store all clients' asset on chain in a way that not only is transparent, you can see, but also it's been consolidated in a very timely manner that even if the exchange owner wants to take out fund, he cannot. How do we do that? So we actually been talking to a few exchanges, and and we had a proposal going on to see if we could form a what they call a consortium, and you actually can form a consortium blockchain with a few keynotes, and the point of that layer one or whatever you call it, it's very fast, so the transaction is free. And what does it do is you can actually broadcast your trading sequence in a very fast manner, and it will be executed. So all the clients' fund will be held again, three parties. Clients one, the blockchain one, the consulting blockchain one key, and the exchange one key. So it takes two keys to withdraw. So even if the exchange owner is missing or the exchange has a problem, uh, when the user requests withdraw, the blockchain, the node will verify and process the withdrawal. So I think this is something probably an ultimate solution we're looking at, and this will take a few players to make sure that it's being established. But this will ultimately solve the centralized trust problem because you can see everything on the chain. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's actually a continuous, reliable, trustless audit. I mean, it's always good to have code you can rely on instead of people and protocols. I mean, even auditors, they can make a mistake. I've seen a lot of auditors making mistakes. So that makes totally sense. You know what amazed me a little bit, Ben? I mean, like you guys are, we're first one of the first exchange that thought, okay, we're gonna do this poor proof of reserves to reestablish, to regain that trust, to get that trust back again. But like nonetheless, like even if we have like this major collapse of FTX, there are some exchanges. I won't call them by name, but they don't provide proof of reserves, or they just delaying it and not bringing this as a topic. What does this tell you?
Um, I cannot comment the other exchanges. Yeah. Um, uh, Look, this whole news hit us very fast, and unless you have a actual very segregated structure, you might not be able to separate your things that in such a short time. And also, I would have assumed there are other considerations that exchange are considering. Maybe they don't want to disclose how big they are or the size of their user fund. um, but I mean, there are a lot of reasons. But the thing is, if you don't do that, it's almost the industry is forcing you, and the client is expecting you to do that. If you don't do that, you end up losing users, and the users will go to whoever provides more transparency. So I think again, this is why I answer your the previous question. Moving forward, how do we restore trust? It's both ways, and the expectation or the industry standard has just been lifted because of FTX. So unless you can kind of self revolute yourself and change the way you work, otherwise you might be obsolete if you don't follow up. So that's our take on that. We don't want to become obsolete. Yeah.
That's very, very fair. I mean, like the moment a big company cannot meet the expectations and the needs and the wants of a customer, then it's actually like it's the end of the story. Like there's no much. Then the company doesn't has have like a real existence in the space. And I totally agree with that. To have like the needs of the users, to have them like as a as the main point of focus. So I believe, like, that's my personal opinion, that some exchanges we know now they won't exist in a few years because they just cannot, they can't like fulfill people's demands and needs. Uh, but another like development we have seen is people, they withdraw their money, which is which makes perfect sense given the situation of FTX. People are trading now more on decentralized exchanges. So my question for you, Ben, is how can, and I personally believe that they can coexist, but from you as a industry leader, how can they coexist, centralized exchanges and decentralized exchanges?
I think ultimately in the long term, they will coexist, and probably in the very long term, DEX gradually will take over and become mean value, because when you improve your user experience, the general knowledge of the public improves. It will be when people given the choice of decentralized and centralized, they will always go for decentralized. Why not? Given if the user experience everything's the same. With that in mind, so Bybit, what is our job and what do we see ourselves? I think our job is to bring people to Web3, and we're the portal, we're the gateway, and I think at some point when we become the exchange, no longer the exchange venue, we'll be pretty happy just transporting people there. And this is actually why we are implementing or integrating with a DEX in 3 weeks. And so you see Bybit mean user interface, our website, our mobile app have a DEX, and clients can directly trade on it. Okay. The problem with all the DEX now is that the ones that have some liquidity has to be fast. So they rely on layer two, like ZK rollup or all these solutions, which makes basically their matching engine is a single node still. Is all the rest are DEX, right? But still, for any ordinary users, I cannot imagine my uncle or my auntie or whoever you not into crypto. I simply cannot tell them go register a MetaMask, buy some coins, transfer to MetaMask, and then transfer to layer two, and then start trading. I mean, that's just crazy. Like the moment I speak MetaMask, I lost them. Right? They were like, well, "What is MetaMask?" Oh. So this is the problem with the DEX. It's very far away from being mass adopted. And this is what we're trying to do with this incorporation on Bybit. So we actually developed a Web3 wallet, which is a hybrid. So it's not a DEX, it's not a decentralized wallet, because we actually control the seed. But clients will register the wallet just like Bybit, email, phone number. You get a code, you get it down, and then you get the wallet address. You can do an internal transfer there, and then we will get rid of all the hassles. So when you trade, it's directly automatically transferred, credited onto layer two, because we actually have a pool in the layer two waiting for you. The moment you initiate on layer one, we initiate on layer two. So everything's instant. Another problem with DEX is that if you go to layer two, it will cost you the transaction fees. So we will solve that with our Web3 wallet. And in the future, whenever people explore even Uniswap or DeFi mining, all these complicated things, our wallet will take care of all the middle hassle. Literally just one click, and you will be able to participate. So that's how we see it, and how we can help these things to become a bit more mass adopted. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. We have one of your fans, C. Ron, said Bybit going to sync with the DEX. That seems like big news. I think it's big news because I tried some decentralized exchanges, but they don't have like a user interface and the comfort of a centralized exchange. And I think and I believe the moment a decentralized exchange can't be distinguished from a centralized exchange from a user interface perspective, then people, more and more people, they will turn, they will switch to decentralized exchanges. But do you believe, Ben, that um, decentralized exchanges is suitable for everyone, or are there some caveats, some major issues for some
Um,
certain target
I
groups?
think we are still extremely far away from DEX taking over centralized exchange on the core, because who makes the majority of volume and who provides the majority of liquidity on, let's say, Bybit? It's all the high frequency and market makers, all the big institutions.
Yep.
We have Tower Research, Jump, Hudson River, Citadel, Cumberland, you name it. All of them are trading on Bybit. These guys, we're talking about milliseconds of latency that they require, right? If certain exchange are giving them a little bit too slow in the latency, they won't trade there. So you already see that in centralized exchange competing for latency, system stability, and the infrastructure to attract institutions. How do you compete with that on a DEX? Unless you just one single node, but then you become centralized again. So I think ultimately you cannot do scalping. You cannot do very high frequency trading on DEX. I don't know if DEX have API. I'm not sure. Probably not. Then so it's gonna be designed for low frequency trading, right? Maybe even cannot do mid frequency. That means the liquidity and the vibrancy of the order book will not will be very hard to compete with the centralized exchange. Yeah.
Yeah, I can really imagine that. I'm not seeing myself scalping or day trading on a decentralized exchange. Maybe like position building or swing trading.
Yeah.
Trade that maybe needs 3, 4, 5 weeks to evolve. So that's actually a really good point you made, Ben. That perhaps like a decentralized exchange is not suitable for everyone. Maybe especially not for the high frequency traders. Um, just to circle a little bit back to exchanges and trust. um I've like my personal experience is um back in 2018 I was scammed by an exchange. It was stupid. I saw some red flags, but nonetheless they did a kind of a rug pull long time ago. So the red flag was actually they were not responsive. The user interface was really ugly. There was some shady stuff going on. Nonetheless, I deposited some money because there was like one coin only available on that exchange, and when I deposited, they went gone. I was really angry at that time, back in 2000. I think it was 2018. So there was actually a red flag. I'm not talking now in about specific exchanges, but what is in your eye a red flag when it comes to exchanges? Could you comment on that?
Um, a red flag. I
I-
think there are many things you could look for, right? Uh, I mean, first, are you talking about spot or derivatives? I think these are two very different things. Yeah.
let's say spot.
Yeah. Spot, I think you gotta, for me, when I go into an exchange, I look at the liquidity. I look at the order book, see if it's real trading happening there. Or I mean, if it's spot, it's very easy to see. Some tokens have this weird, almost like
Yeah.
those matrix looking things, and then you can see if it's a liquid token or not on other exchange. If it is, then it's kind of a red flag that nobody's really trading on this exchange. And then you want to probably go see, click on live chat and see if there's people there, customer support, and see how professional they are. And I would even before that, I would just go to Twitter and YouTube and search for the exchange and see if there are any people talking shit about them.
Yeah.
Especially like withdrawal problems and things like that. But even at that point, you probably want to all these checks. You want to make a small deposit and see if you can withdraw and how fast it takes to withdraw. But with any new exchange, you want to try a small amount to begin with, and slowly and gradually build your way if you're comfortable with that new exchange, right? But time does, and especially in crypto, we're moving very fast. Uh, how long the exchange has been existing is actually very important because there are so many challenges actually running exchange, like hacking events, like so many things that could bring down exchange. And if you've been around for a while, and all majority are good reputation and clients didn't have a problem with you, I think that's a good sign. So I think um, that's something I would recommend. And also I want to say it's actually at this period of time it's very hard to start a new exchange. First of all, clients are losing faith, and also the competition are so fierce with the existing exchange.
Yeah, and that's really true. And this brings me actually to another topic. Is like a while ago in 2018, there were not so many derivative exchanges. There was like BitMEX and a few others. Like most people, some people they like BitMEX and some not, and then other exchanges appeared, and they basically took over some of their market share. That's how business goes. Now with the FTX collapse, what kind of opportunities do you see now for Bybit?
I think Bybit had always been focusing on the product and the service. And for me, I'm very product driven. Whenever I appear, mostly on on our own AMAs, we talk about product. I think we are the only one of the only platforms that have a product launch every 6 months. We spend a lot of time to make sure that launch clients are happy with it and all that. So I think at the end of the day, we want to be here for the long run, and this is what Bybit is gunning for. We don't really want to get involved with too much of the politics, whether it's the real politics or the politics of crypto. We kind of always been puts our heads down and let's bang on some good product, and we're actually very well known among retail users. And I go to different areas of the world that we have offices: Argentina, Brazil, Turkey, even Africa, and local users love us. So, and this is what we want to build. And we've actually evolved from just being a derivatives to now a very full suites of products. We're launching the Bybit card very soon. So I think this is something. This is the opportunity, and when people start to realize the product and how easy it is used, they will choose Bybit. And lastly, is that I think for traders, Bybit is probably your best alternative after FTX. Because we also have a unified margin system, which we are going to include a spot and all these things, very much similar like FTX, and why a lot of people choose FTX is the margin system. So this is something we are working on. I think we're the one of the closest to that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. That's really interesting. Julian, I think you were about to ask a question.
Yeah, thanks, Jimmy. Ben, I did want to ask if you encourage your users at all to use self-custody wallets, cold storage wallets, and hard wallets at all, or are you just happy with them keeping their funds on your platform?
So of course, for that, for now, if they want to trade, they have to keep it on Bybit. But we are exploring different ways. Like I said, we're working with Copper and Fireblocks for them to have custody, and we're exploring ways to see if users can have a, a self custody kind of wallet, like I said, kind of multi signatured ones. But also, we are very embraceable Web3, and we do have a Web3 wallet. So actually, if clients are worried about their fund, they can simply transfer to our Web3 wallet, which is a pretty much similar as MetaMask. The only difference is what I described. We store the keys, but it's stored encrypted in our MPC kind of custody solutions, so nobody knows the key. But it's ease of use. But if you're paranoid, you can of course transfer to MetaMask and all that. So look, I don't have a preference on where you store, and the moment you choose to store at Bybit, we can pretty much guarantee safe. But why do people use exchange? I think mostly is to exchange. Is for the trading part, or the product and service, and that cannot be eliminated. And we've seen clients coming back for the past 2 days because they still need to trade with the market moving. Yeah.
Great. And you mentioned a lot of dexes aren't quite keeping up. But in the past year, we've actually seen more volume on Uniswap and on DYDX than on many centralized exchanges. Do you think that there's definitely competition there, or how would you view some of these bigger decentralized exchanges that have been gaining a lot of volume?
Yeah, no, I think it's very good they're getting a lot more volume. This is why we're also integrating with one of the DEX. However, I still think DEX are mainly for very crypto native people, and a lot of the volume is because they have these trade to earn, these kind of special campaigns going on. But if you simply give retail clients a choice of DEX or centralized, most of them will still choose. So I think again in the long run of the future, people would once they get used to DEX, I think they will choose use DEX. Uh, I mean the derivatives, right? But for spot, I can already see it's happening. For me, whenever I want to trade a spot, I actually prefer, I use 1 inch because it's so damn easy. You just plug it in and you can do that, right? Um, so, but I think it always takes time, and if the industry was going to grow 20 times, which is my belief, mass adoption is going to happen, with especially the next bull run. I don't see how is DEX is gonna actually be on the user count, because centralized exchange is so easy to use for new users. Yeah.
Interesting. And does Bybit kind of provide education so that users can use wallets a lot more, and or do you still try to keep your users within your own product of
We
that
have
self
we have we have a
wallet?
whole Bybit learn section that teach people about wallets and all of that. So we really don't have a preference, and we actually teach people how to use MetaMask and all these DEX solutions on the wallet. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Ben. And yeah, how do you see Bybit kind of growing in the future? Are you going to try to integrate Apex a lot more into your solutions, or are you still trying to keep it separate with that wallet you're developing? Or how do you kind of see that development in the future of Bybit, and then especially against other competitors?
So we are going to fully incorporate our Web3 page is a new thing we're developing. So we're hoping to use our wallet to connect to all the ecosystem, whether it's Solana or Ethereum or even BSC. I think Web3 it's about different ecosystem, and our job is to take people there. So we don't want to create our own ecosystem. We will take there. So with that being said, again, our wallet will be serving as the main bridge, because we're going to design it in such a way that it's going to be so easy to use. It will feel just like an exchange wallet. And so with Apex, we are going very deep in the integration. We actually, from Bybit internal balance or Bybit Web3 wallet, to transfer is free and instant. That's we use that solution I just talked about, because most people will have problem with the fees and also the time it takes to transfer to layer 2. And also, not only that, I think there are a few very deep integration happening with Apex, and we can after Apex we want to integrate with maybe Sushi or Uniswap or 1inch through our Web3 wallet to make it very very easy for people to use. Yeah.
Great. So is it going to be a native integration similar to what something like OKX has, or are you trying to make it a lot more native because your wallet is kind of connecting as well? How would you kind of compare your wallet?
Yeah. So initially, we will in our mobile app, we can actually control the environment. So it will once you click, let's say, Sushi or Uniswap, it will prompt, and you can directly use our wallet, right? And that's stage 1. So stage 2 will be we're going out to approach this project to allow our wallet to be part of their selections of the integration menu, right? And I think we will bring a different perspective because our wallet is actually not a decentralized, a typical decentralized where user have to remember the seed and all that. I'm actually think retail clients, almost all of them will lose the seed and don't know what's going on with the seed. And so this is something we take is we're gonna, if you're gonna trust a centralized exchange like us, you register you with the email. We'll give you the rest of the take you to the rest of the journey. Yeah.
Okay, but don't you think that if a centralized entity is managing people's seeds and managing people's access to those wallets, it kind of defeats the purpose of self-custody and kind of managing your own finances and owning your own property, and that
Yeah,
crypto
I
is
think
attempting?
yeah, no, I think it definitely defeats the purpose of that. But we ask the question: why do people come to Web3? Is that Is the purpose you described the reason why they come to Web3? I don't think so. I think people come to Web3, explore DeFi, all these things is because the opportunity to earn, the opportunity to own a certain asset, and of course they can transfer to whatever ledger or hardware wallet they want to. But still, the problem I see with a lot of these DeFi things is lack of tools and lack of ease, ease of use. For example, with our wallet, we'll set a auto stop loss and take profit capability for any DeFi mining thing you're participating. Whenever your profit reaches you, we can auto pool. Whenever there is a sudden drop of the LTV of the pool you're participating, we can do an automatic execution to prevent you from rug pulling. So all these things are lacking in the current thing because with the decentralized wallet, of course, you can control your own fund. I mean, it's completely your fund you control. But for retail clients, do you have the time to really constantly follow all these projects that you are participating to earn the yield and have attention to that? I don't think so. So again, the people we are serving are, of course, not the ones care about that. If you care about that, use MetaMask. Congratulations, use Ledger. But I think our clients are still the average daily Joes that don't understand that, and they actually want to rely on us to handle that for them. So I think we're targeting different clienteles and audience. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Thanks for kind of differentiating the clientele then.
Yeah.
We do have some comments. Someone is asking if you can reduce the unified margin instead of 5K to activate the unified margin. I don't know how the unified margin works.
Yeah.
Maybe you can kind of expand on that.
Yeah. So the unified margin is now 50% completed product. It basically anyone have Bitcoin, Ethereum, or major tokens on Bybit, you can use the unified margin to trade USDC as well as our option. We are soon going to include our spot. Once the spot is included, we will implement portfolio margin to all of the unified margin. So that's two things, yeah. But currently it's 5K just because it's a new system we were testing. So we are going to drop it as time go on. We are going to drop it to basically free for everyone to participate and use. It's a great system to really maximize your margin basically. You can trade multiple venues and take the floating P&L to trade even spot and all that. So I was actually talking to Paradigm and they want us to incorporate spot ASAP because they want to provide the spread trading for clients to do the spot and futures at the same time. Yeah.
Great. Wow, thanks. That's quite a development. Can be quite interesting to use for a lot of traders that know how to execute that. So what would you say is your biggest challenges moving forward with this year and before we lead into a more kind of productive market cycle?
I think it's definitely the proof of reserves for solution. I think all the exchanges or big centralized guys are working on what is the best way to offer that, so that's kind of on top of everyone's mind now. But moving forward, I think it's still business as usual, and we're gonna focus on building the product and being the exchange that people can use very smoothly. The fundamental of exchange, good customer support and all of that. And I think the industry will always pick up, right? And we've been through this circle already once, and last time there's always some big bombs happens, and FTX happens to be this circle, and I think there are still going to be repercussions, and maybe the market's still going to dip a bit more, but we'll recover. Yeah.
Great. So you think proof of reserves is going to be enough to kind of take Bybit through the next bull market to be
Oh,
kind of
no,
go-to
no. Sorry.
exchange, or?
Yeah, no. I think that's fundamental. That's gonna be every exchange working on that, and so basically, even if you want to compete, I think that's something you need to show. I like how you guys asked me previously, like, what about those exchanges who don't show and don't? well, again, they're probably going to be obsolete if they don't keep up, right? But I think the future relies on Web3, and this is why we're incorporating DAX. We are building the Web3 wallet. I believe with the next bull run, a new innovation is going to happen, like the last run. I think last run was what, DeFi or something that triggered it, right? And then NFT, the whole metaverse thing. So I think next bull run is going to be again most likely triggered within Web3, and we want to make sure that we have the bridge ready for people, and so massive users just can come and use our bridge to participate in whatever is becoming the next thing. Yeah.
Right. Wonderful. And there seems to be another question. Yeah, well, it praises to you, from the users and the comments. They just like how humble you are and how well you've been explaining everything about Bybit and so on. Ben, is there something else you would want to tell everyone, kind of why uh, they should try out Bybit, or kind of about your history or what you look forward to with Bybit?
Um, well, Bybit is always going to be here. We focus on, like I said, the fundamentals. We didn't spend time to try to explain ourselves too much, but rather just give people, let them withdraw if they're panicking, right? And then actually that made people really trusted us. I guess if I want to talk about it, is I know a lot of people are getting hurt, and a lot of people got their money stolen with this whole incident. But I still think we're here because we believe in this technology, and I think this industry ultimately is technology driven, but it's based on consensus. I think consensus is there, and the world needs a decentralized, immutable code to solve the current bigger problem, which is inflation, the centralized finance, all this other shit is happening. Yeah. So I think although we might start to think that we lose face a bit, but I think we just gotta stick through and if you don't feel comfortable, use exchange. Hold your own keys in a ledger or hardware. It's your keys. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Ben, one question that kind of takes it back. Why did you get into crypto in the first place, and why did you start an exchange?
Yeah. So for me, actually, I got in early 2017. That was kind of the beginning of the whole ICO kind of thing. It it got me because the whole ICO phase really gave people a lot of imaginations. There was literally like daily new idea popping out, new because they were looking to raise money, right? And kind of really give you a good picture of what the future might feel like in a decentralized world. So I think I got attracted definitely because the belief. I think the problem with the centralized currency, and now we have a way, a magic internet money we can rely on, and we don't have to rely on any centralized agents, and then start to see all these things can be built on top of it. That really got me into the industry. um, and then why I started exchange, because back then there were only two exchanges for derivatives, right? There were BitMEX and then there was OKEX, and both of them had problems with volatility. Whenever volatility happens, the exchange is either overloaded or it goes down. So and I ran a forex exchange for like 8 years before, and forex is a very mature market. There's such thing is simply cannot be tolerated and even unspoken of, right? Unheard of. And so I come in, I'm like, well, this is completely shitty user experience. And when you have a problem, there's no live support. It was email. I remember at the time, BitMEX took 3 days to reply email. And so I was like, look, I'm gonna build exchange that actually traders really love, because I ran exchange for so many years, and so that's how I started. And so actually, this is what everyone had praised Bybit on, is our uptime. We never go down, and we're always available. So our stability is very strong because that was our very initial problem we were trying to solve, and this is actually how we took probably majority of BitMEX clients because they were having a massive overload problem. and we kind of solved that. Yeah.
Great. That's very big. So many exchanges have problems with going down during volatility, and if you're the one that isn't going down, then that's a huge reason just to use Bybit, just because it's of that reliability. So that's very good to know. Jimmy, did you have something else you want to mention?
Yeah, something really cool. There is a giveaway, guys. There's a giveaway, and there's also a giveaway secret code. If you're sharp, you see the code. Congress 2022. Remember that code. In the description, you can see what to do, and you might win a free subscription. Ben, I think we discussed really a lot. FTX, proof of work, reliability of exchanges, Apex, Web3, and so on, and so on, and so on. I think you provided a lot of information, a lot of valuable information. For those who are not following Ben, I would say follow Ben. His handle is at Ben Bybit, at
Yep.
Ben Bybit. Ben, is there anything else you would like to share before we wrap it up?
No, that's pleasure to be here, and good to see you guys. Yeah, all good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
likewise, likewise, likewise. For the listeners, you know where the like button is. So give this live stream a like. Those who are watching this recording later, give it a like because Ben really did his best to explain proof of reserve, the future of exchanges, decentralized exchanges. It's really worthy to give him a like. Thank you very much, guys. Remember, there's a giveaway, Congress 2022. Go to theburpnet.com/Congress if you want to participate in the Congress. We have a lot of other speakers lined up this week. I'm really excited about this Congress. It's something you definitely not want to miss out. Ben, thank you very much. It was a huge, huge, huge honor to have you in this show. Julian, as always, a wonderful host. Guys, thank you very much and talk soon.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time, Ben.
Thank you.